Hey everyone, welcome back. This is lukemick here, and this is my review for The Counselor. So The Counselor is directed by Ridley Scott and it stars Michael Fassbender, Cameron Diaz, Javier Bardem, and Brad Pitt and Penelope Cruz. So this movie has a pretty big cast and a pretty great director helming the whole project, and I was really excited for it. If you guys saw my 2013 anticipation video I did a couple months ago, maybe a month ago, you knew that I was really excited to see this movie, and this review is late, and it is late for a couple of reasons. One of the reasons is that the movie was not received very well. A lot of critics really didn't like it. A lot of the audiences really didn't like it either. It just wasn't supposed to be a very good movie, and I obviously heard that going into it, and I was like, well, I mean, I guess I can just kind of hope for the best, so I'll give you guys my opinion and what I thought of it, even though most of the reviews are done coming in. I'm one of the late bloomers. I'll just tell you guys what I thought. So the story is basically about Michael Fassbender, or Fassbender. I don't know how I want to say his name. I think it's Foss. Just don't mind it. So Michael Fassbender is the counselor, and you don't really, you never really get to know who the counselor really is. He works with Javier Bardem, who's sort of the main person in the drug cartel business, I think, that he works with. And then he also meets Brad Pitt, and he also has something to do with the business. Basically, you meet a lot of these actors, the big name actors, and a lot of people throughout the movie, but you never know what they're doing. Like, you know that they work in the cartel, but you never know what they do, and there's just no explanation behind really any of the characters. So the story, it really was not good. I think the script was written very poorly. A lot of the movie is just really uninteresting. A lot of the dialogue just isn't, like I said, it just isn't interesting. It kind of bored me. It's not as intense or anything as like a Tarantino script, and I wasn't thinking that going into it. It's just like with these longer dialogue based scenes, it needs to be interesting, and a lot of them really weren't. And a lot of scenes in this movie I feel are really unnecessary, and they don't really like make the movie any better. They just make it longer. They don't add anything to the experience. And I don't know, the story just by the end of the movie I realized what it was about. I was like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but there's just so many unnecessary steps they took to get to the end, to get to the conclusion. So I think the script was just really bad. A lot of the dialogue just wasn't interesting. It was really bland and uninspired. And the story, I mean, it's okay, but a lot of the times, for the most part, you really don't know what's going on, and you really don't care, because it's just uninteresting, which is really kind of disappointing, because this movie had a lot of promise. But unfortunately, the biggest part of the main thing that you would go there for, the story, it just isn't there. There's nothing to it. It seems pointless. That's it, pointless. Maybe I'm saying the same thing over a couple times, but it just felt like a very pointless movie. Now let's talk about the performances. I like most of the people in this movie. I will say one thing. I am not a fan of Cameron Diaz. I've never really liked her, and her character in this movie is just really kind of silly and just not really likable. I really don't like Cameron Diaz, and I felt like she was really overacting in this movie, and I don't know, you never really knew what her character wanted until the end, and it just, I don't know, her character was just really cheesy. I didn't like it. And Michael Fassbender as a counselor, like, he does good, but they're not given enough with the script. Like, we never get to know anything about his character, so we really don't care about him. And the same thing goes for everybody. Like, my favorite person in the movie was probably Javier Bardem. His character had a story that I thought it was actually a little interesting, that I did like, and I thought that he probably gave the best performance. But like I said, we just don't know anything about his character, and you don't really know what he's doing. I mean, the movie is basically Michael Fassbender is working with these guys, then one little thing goes wrong, and then everything just goes to shit. That's pretty much what happens. It's really, really, really pointless, and it's really subliminal, and a lot of stuff is just not explained. I mean, the movie's kind of broken. It doesn't work very well, and, Penelope Cruz is in there, and I always like her, but there's just nothing to her character. There are no characters or story in this movie. It's all the actors, and it just, I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, it's directed fine by Ridley Scott, and it looks pretty nice for the most part. The cinematography is good. There were two scenes in particular that I could say that I actually did really like. There's one scene where it's about halfway through the movie. I don't want to spoil it or anything, But these guys are driving and they're transporting some drugs, I'm assuming. And the cops pull him over, and he looks over and he's like, "Oh, these aren't police." So the two guys who think they have the upper hand, they have a certain plan to get the cops off of them, and it doesn't work out well. It's messy and it felt very real, and I liked that scene. It was probably the most action-packed scene. It was just a little skirmish out in the desert, but I thought it was pretty well done. It seemed realistic and I liked it. And there was one other scene with Brad Pitt towards the end of the movie that I thought was pretty cool. But overall, I thought the movie was just really, really pointless. It had a scene or two there that I actually really did enjoy, but for the most part, it just drags on and on and on. There's lots of pointless scenes. You never care about the characters in the story. It does make sense at the end and everything, but it's just so damn pointless. So that's my review for The Counselor, guys. I'm going to give it 1.5 out of 5 stars. I'm definitely really disappointed with it, but I almost expected it a little bit. I don't know. So anyways, guys, this is lukemick signing off. Please subscribe. I'm going to go see Ender's Game tonight and then Freebird sometime this weekend. I'm talking weird. And I'm going to see Thor on Thursday night. So I'll talk to you guys later.